John Cena. No, that's an old one. That sucks.
You can't.
Don't do that. Don't put that in. AC, stop. AC. I know I fuck up sometimes, okay? Do not put the John Cena meme in, please. Alright? It's dead. Just let it die, please.
But wait a minute, here it comes.
No, stop! Do not put it in! AC, don't put that in the fucking...
What did you just watch?
After all the years we've been doing this, you gotta ask me that?
Honestly, not sure what I just watched.
Season 8.
Finale of My Little Pony Friendship's Magic.
My Little Pony Friendship is power!
Sending babies to hell.
We didn't forgive her.
I probably won't remember it tomorrow because I have rabies.
Watched a pretty fun end to the season. It was an enjoyable piece featuring a very large cast with a lot of moving components.
Probably one of the messiest, least focused episodes in the whole show.
I think you watched Ponies.
Oh man, did I watch Ponies?
Had a lot of fun throughout it despite my usual snark.
What is our existence if not Ponies?
Right?
What were your overall thoughts on the episode?
I liked it. It wasn't like my favorite, but you know, it's like they kind of had a little bit of an epicness to it with Tartarus, with the monsters and T-Rex.
Surprising, had good build-up.
But they still kind of reined it in a bit, or reeled it in a bit with like, hey, we're gonna have Cozy Glow be the real villain.
Pretty good.
I thought it was a pretty good episode.
A lot of questions I got answered in this episode, and it was a overall fun episode.
Darker than I expected, and I really like Cozy Glow as a villain. She's cunning.
I liked the complexity of this episode.
There's a lot of scenes that I really enjoy, but they don't all necessarily serve a utility.
Run of the mill wasn't the best one.
Case in point, Twilight and friends trying to escape from Tartarus. It featured a lot of group effort, a pooling of resources and talents, and some pretty fun moments. But at the end, it's all rendered moot because they would have been freed either way.
I thought it was pretty good. It had a pretty good arc this season with the School of Friendship.
I loved Cozy Glow.
I'm also torn on Cozy because she did a really good job of manipulating everyone and playing the situation and adapting on the fly.
Not ever a villain I would have expected from the show. I think they knew that. I think they picked a villain like that because they hoped no one would see it coming, which...
But the thing is that from seeing the rest of the season, I saw it coming. There was even meme images of like, don't trust her lies.
I think it's interesting they had like a new like characters with the young six.
Are you saying that the ponies that recycle are inherently evil?
I mean,
her words, not mine.
It took a protagonist character and they said, she's a crazy ass villain now.
I think the only thing I found unbelievable about that is she's supposed to be like 10.
It's a new thing and it was fun.
I mean, if she's an evil prodigy though, that's a thing.
An evil prodigy.
Totally.
Going to the friendship school.
Yeah. Interesting idea for a villain, I guess, but it didn't have like the impact that some of the other big villains had.
I like it, if only just because of that. It was like a completely different viewing experience.
Pretty climactic, but I feel like it wasn't as bodacious and bombastic as the other ones.
I thought it was pretty decent overall. Like, I don't think it's one of the great ones. Like, to me, number 4 is still like the godliest freaking one, and even this one had T-Rex in it. I was a bit upset that they didn't, do more with him. But yeah, it was entertaining.
It was cool that T-Rex was there.
Most of all, I enjoyed the students stepping into their own, becoming not the elements of Harmony 2.0, but affirming their friendship is in the same spirit as Twilight and the others.
There's a lot of potential, a lot of great, wonderful ideas, awesome characters, and big conflict. Just too much crammed into one episode. I think that's the ultimate criticism, the most fair criticism I can get, because any of these ideas work alone.
Hell is super boring.
Yeah, it is. It's not fiery at all.
I get why they kind of like put the focus on the school, on the main 6 a bit, on the students who are kind of like the second tier main characters now.
Nobody's tormented.
Yeah, there's no demons with pitchforks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, where do you think the phrase boring as hell came from?
That's true.
That makes sense.
What did you like about the episode?
I like that we got some more of the Tree of Harmony.
There was a lot to like here. I really do like the idea of Cozy Glow. I like the idea of like a child genius who's a psychopathic manipulator. I think there's something kind of fun about that,
Took a villain seriously in multiple ways. We had an army show up.
Part 1 especially had a lot of hilarious jokes with the main 6. Oddly enough, despite me saying how much I hate this episode and complaining this entire time, Part 1 kind of had like the best jokes of the entire show almost.
I like the animation. It continues to improve.
Tyrek we sent back to Tartarus where he started, but this was our first time seeing somebody get sent to Tartarus.
I like a lot of the humor, including Pinkie Pie torturing Tyrek. That's probably as kid-friendly as you can get with enhanced interrogation methods.
I like the part where the credits turned on and I didn't have to watch it anymore.
Oh, them's the jokes, folks!
Characters from the School of Friendship. I think it's neat how they showcase like cultural differences because they are different creatures, but are still very close friends.
You know, I do like the fact that they had Cozy Glow as like a villain from the beginning. Like you followed along with her.
Cozy was fun.
I like the door of Tartarus.
They brought back Tyrek, I think justifiably.
I did like that they brought back Tyrek.
And that was fun.
Like the cliffhanger. I like that they're like, oh, wait a minute. Cozy Glow seems kind of happy to be here.
Really love the students, especially Gallus. He doesn't want anyone to know he's working so hard.
They crammed in a lot of characters into this, and it wasn't cluttered.
I do like Cozy Glow's megalomania, that great laugh.
I like that they brought Nace back from like the first episode and then turned him good, and now he's okay.
I like that we got a lot of references to older episodes in this, with Tartarus and a bunch of the creatures that were in there, and we got Tyrek back.
The animation's great, music. There was a few action-packed moments there towards the end I liked a lot. There was a lot of good pacing there. Yeah, all the usual likes. Again, main 6 are lovable. The student 6 are starting to grow on me. I didn't really like them in the past.
I like Cozy Glow's face. Great animation, great facial expression.
Cozy Glow, I like her as a really different kind of villain. Really cool.
I like Tartarus. Always like, I think that's our first time ever being in Tartarus. It's kind of cool, seeing Tyrek locked up. It's like, oh, he's still in the show. Cool.
It's an interesting action-packed story being told here. The stakes are pretty high.
I liked Pinkie in the episode. Me too, but I like Pinkie in general.
What did you dislike about the episode?
I'm glad you asked. Just so happens I made a list. I think I've complained enough for one reaction.
Chancellor Nace can go die in a ditch.
Look how racist I am. I don't like how they keep throwing that in your face.
Racism is bad. Teaching the kids racism is bad is a good moral. But God, I hate Chancellor Nace.
There are subtle ways to point out that bigotry is bad without making it so unrealistically blatant.
Felt hard to justify his hate, and obviously because he's wrong.
Ridiculous in terms of, he's clearly educated, he's intelligent, but he has this blind, baseless bigotry that is uncharacteristic of his or really any character, because I personally have never met anybody who is that ignorant.
Feels idiotic to just make him this kind of character, and then at the end they're like, and then he became a good guy.
One way they could have made it more realistic is by giving him a motivation, giving him a backstory, giving him a reason for being as biased as he is.
It's just an entirely unjustified villain.
I guess my biggest gripe on this episode is the villain's end goal.
There are a couple of plot holes in there, but they weren't too big.
Power was like the end goal, but it felt like a very odd way to go about it.
The B plot with Tartarus was entirely inconsequential.
Twilight and her friends are rendered moot in this story.
A lot of the dumb decisions that the characters made.
The weirdest plot point to me was that the main 6 locked themselves in Tartarus.
Twiggy was just stupid this whole episode, or this whole season!
They're not saved by their friends, but they don't contribute to the solution either.
Oh, it's just boring to me.
Cozy Glow is not thinking her plan all the way through, namely the fact that she is a child.
Cozy Glow was just never gave off that, I'm a threatening mastermind aura.
Oh my gosh, Celestia. I love her so much, but she is so useless.
I dislike the CMC were kind of useless other than just helping Sandbar that one time. And they sort of caused this whole thing.
I also don't like that the Tree of Harmony is a Deus Ex Machina.
Bad guy was a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
It was a bit predictable. Hell was super boring.
Suddenly, the Tree of Harmony decides Now's the time I'm just gonna zap and make everything good.
I felt like there was a lot going on between the main six and the students and Cozy Glow and then the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Chancellor Naysayer was there.
This is always the hard thing when there's sort of this god entity or this superpower in Equestria and it doesn't do anything because it doesn't want to or doesn't choose to or they need to learn a lesson. I feel like that's wrong pacing. You learn the lesson throughout the season so that when the time comes, when this critical moment hits, you know what to do. That feels more like a natural progression.
I felt bad for all the animals in there.
Yeah.
They all like lent their powers at the end, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, what's the reward for them?
What did you think about the villain?
Cozy Glow as a villain was sort of a weird premise.
It was weird to have a child be this far ahead of the adults.
We just didn't see enough of her during the season.
Kind of meh as a villain.
It's like she was just psychotic.
That's what cracked me up that they sent her to hell.
I want a villain to be able to make that kind of mess. So, I mean, she did real good.
Point one is that was fun and new and cool and I liked watching it. The other one was, but then again, this is a kids show. Is it teaching kids the right thing?
I was very impressed with this villain.
It's a weird thing to teach kids that like, hey, guess what? Some of your friends can betray you. Like, I mean, you're not wrong.
Everybody came out of the woodwork to put her away, and that's pretty impressive.
Cozy Glow is both a delight and a frustration.
I liked this villain. This would be a cool villain to see like grow up.
I love her mannerisms and her Shirley Temple-esque innocence that's a facade of this tyrant.
I think Cozy Glow makes a fantastic villain.
But I'd like to know more about her.
Just straight up evil, and she was talking with Tierek this whole time, and that's weird. But it was also fun.
Not relying on her power or her armies or her magic. She's relying purely on her intelligence.
Cozy is focused, determined villainy. And I'd like to know why.
She was conniving and evil in the classroom bad guy kind of sense.
Her plan is a little, I don't know, cookie cutter. Ooh, I just want power.
Her motivation was stupid.
Yeah, I didn't get her purpose to become Empress of Equestria.
She didn't even want that. She wanted to be the headmistress of a school to get friends, to get power from friendship.
That she uses her influence, her manipulation to get what she wants. So it's a unique and realistic type of villain.
She wasn't intimidating. She was a fucking little kid. Kick her.
It makes her scarier too, because she's typically one step ahead.
And I do love that she has to adapt on the fly, but she's always overlooking one factor. She is a foal. She is someone that no one else is going to listen to for a considerable number of years.
It makes her less predictable, which makes her more interesting, which also makes her more intimidating, in my opinion. So I really like her as a villain.
Cozy Glow is a very different and interesting villain we haven't really had before. I've seen a lot of people compare her to Darla Dimple from Castile and Dance, and I definitely get that vibe, especially with the hair. They're very similar looking, and the acts are the same.
It's a Darla Dimple complex.
But yeah, Cozy Glow just wants a ton of friends to be powerful, which is a kind of a weird goal. But I guess I understand it with like people who want to be so popular they can influence others.
I like Cozy Glow. That's like the only thing about the episode I really liked.
I liked her.
I really liked the villain.
I thought it was a different approach to a villain.
I think she's probably one of the best written villains.
Tiny, aggressive, angry, kind of hides it, but behind that face of like, I'm cute, is someone is about to go nuts.
I think I love Cozy Glow. I like the idea of a child manipulator who's like a genius. Hope we see more of her in the future.
How did this finale do compared to past finales?
Not the best. Definitely not the worst.
I wasn't frustrated with this finale.
Definitely memorable.
Here's top best episodes, here's bottom not as good episodes. Yay.
There were some elements to it that were reused and that were relatively cliche, but for the most part, it was very solid, very interesting, very and somewhat unique finale, in that it delved a little bit more into different forms of magic in Equestria.
Like most of the finales.
I enjoyed this one. I liked seeing the new six be able to have a big part in it.
I thought that was pretty good. Can't wait to see how we finish up next year.
Once again, Celestia and Luna didn't do anything. And again, I guess a general doesn't go to the front lines, does he?
The top third, I think. Like, maybe not the absolute best.
There was danger. You felt it. All the magic was gone. You're like, ooh, the magic forever. So there was risk.
Wasn't as epic.
It never felt Scary.
Probably up into the upper half of finales of the seasons.
Again, too much going on.
Definitely in the top 4, I think.
It was okay.
This one is like villain versus main 6 and their familiars.
I guess I'm still hoping for another gigantic Tyrek battle where it's just an all-out magical mayhem blowing up crap. I loved that. That was cool.
I was hoping they were gonna let Tyrek out. He was gonna do something. I was like, yeah, here we go. But he sits in a cage all the goddamn day.
Ever since season 4, when fucking Tyrek and Twilight go fucking Dragon Ball Z on each other, nothing has been able to top that.
No, nothing has been able to top that. And it was kind of nice to have a little bit of throwback to that.
Not one of my favorite finales, that's for sure.
It was okay.
It was okay.
If I had to rate it, I'd say maybe 4th.
I feel like setting this in the school kind of toned down the epicness and the scope of it all. So you would think going to Tartarus would kind of compensate for that, but no, Tartarus is just a cave somewhere. That was a pretty big disappointment.
I kind of see this finale as more of an investment for the upcoming season and what's going to happen with that with the villains. And if it pays off, then it'd be worth it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's cool.
Was Cozy's punishment warranted?
On one hand, I feel like Cozy Glow's punishment might have been a complete afterthought. But on the other hand, this is a big thing. I think Cozy Glow might have wanted to get captured on purpose.
Uh-oh. It just occurred to me that this is going into the realms of juvenile punishment.
I see the argument that, but she's a child. But screw that, man.
Tartarus is treated like a jail. In a sense, hell.
Like, I'm surprised that we didn't do this with Starlight Glimmer, that we didn't do this with Discord.
She's like a young child who did a bad thing.
There was a lot of forgiveness going around, and I think they finally ran out of their forgiveness bottle.
That bad thing almost destroyed magic.
They didn't really seem to try to reform her or change her. That's typically what they do with a villain, but usually only as a last resort if they can't contain them, and it was pretty easy to contain Cozy because she didn't have power.
Depends on whether you think she's being sealed there for all time or not. I think if it's a temporary thing, then sure, and then they can try reforming her.
She wasn't really that dangerous. They could have tried to help her first, unless they felt like her mind was too dangerous.
If you tried to steal all the magic in Equestria and lose it forever, what do you think?
She's not sorry for what she did. She's clearly stated, I'm better than you, I can do more than you. There's no way I'm sorry for what I've done when I'm clearly superior.
Sending the child to hell? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. She was annoying as fuck. Always throw kids in hell if you can.
She can't be allowed to wander free because she can easily manipulate others and craft magic to her whim.
She went to hell.
She did. Let's send the kid to hell.
For the protection of the public, for a demonstration that this will not be tolerated, and just to make sure a threat is locked away, she should be imprisoned. But why Tartarus?
I'm just not sure if they should have put her in Tartarus. That sounds like a really bad idea, especially just putting her right next to Tyrek, who she was working with.
Is it just either you're forgiven or you're in Tartarus? That's it?
You really should have just had her working on a farm or something. Yeah, send her to Sweet Apple Acres, make her do work.
This punishment is needed, warranted, but maybe extreme in its location.
Now, do I think that the main six are going to try and reform Cozy? No.
I thought it was a bit over the top. It's weird that we're in a show, a series, a universe where forgiveness is very important. But they lock a child in prison next to basically Satan. That's a bit much.
I think it was fitting, because think about it. She just tried to suck all the power out of Equestria, which is what Tyrek did, and Tyrek got banished to Tartarus.
You've got two of the biggest threats to Equestria right next to one another. And if that isn't like putting Lex Luthor next to the Joker and saying, be friends, I don't know what could be more threatening.
I guess I really am just holding out that small candle of she's still young, but
yeah,
you're right. Like, if it was an adult pony, this wouldn't even be a discussion.
I have this conspiracy theory. It's all part of her bigger plan, because she had to have known the main six would talk to Tyrek. She had to have known he probably would have blabbed. So I don't know why, but I think she wanted to get locked up in Tartarus somehow. And the way the episode ends on kind of almost a cliffhanger of a close-up on her face, and also the hint we had with the animals or the monsters turning back into animals, I think there's a lot more that's going to be happening in season 9, and I'm certain Cozy's a part of it. So my assumption is it has something to do with her being in Tartarus. She's going to work with Tyrek. She's going to tap into some other magical power. I don't know what's going to happen. But the point is, I think she wanted to be captured, and I think this was all part of her plan.
They could have killed her. They could have banished her to the moon.
Okay, that would have been weird, right? That would have been too far.
Or they could have banished her to the moon for 1,000 fucking years.
Alright, when I think about it, it's really not as bad.
It's not as bad as you think, plus she's got Tyrek. They're gonna be BFF soon.
Overall, how would you rate the season 8 finale?
A solid 7.
Between 6 and 7.
I'd give it a 6. Again, it was just kind of like, oh, it's alright.
It's kind of underwhelming, but it's hardly the worst episode I've ever seen.
I was like on the edge of my seat. Like I'd watch, I kind of was hoping for more Starlight.
A 6.43.
I'm gonna go with a 4 out of 10. So 5 would be kind of like meh episode. 4 is disappointing.
I give this a 7.
Really? That's so funny. I give it a 5.
Wow, you're being hypercritical.
Hopefully they flesh things out in season 9, and that will kind of like retroactively improve this episode.
Motivation was just so, like, stupid.
A neutral 5. It was good writing, but a little boring.
It's a message to kids, especially because obviously this is a kid show, that you don't have to have a fuckload of friends.
I give this finale an 8.
I'll give it an 8.
8.5.
Had fun throughout it. Like I said, it was great seeing all the characters.
I would give it a 9, except that I just really don't like the Chancellor's character and the role that he plays in beating a message over the head.
This would have been a 9 until I looked at the other finale episodes, which is, I feel like it's almost unfair.
One of the things that I think perpetuates racism in the real world is that it's constantly being thrown in our faces all the time.
It was satisfying to see that their teachings are going forward to a new generation, and so they have an impact. Probably one of the highest callings of teaching. You change the world through your students.
This character was falling into that vein, and it just kind of made me roll my eyes. It just bothered me. I felt like I was watching CNN.
I'd probably rate it an 8. Like, I really enjoyed this finale. I really enjoyed the villain this season and what they were doing.
This is why Thanos is a good villain. We don't agree with him, but at least we know why he has his motivation.
I had fun. I enjoyed it. This was a strong end to a good season. What were your thoughts on season 8?
I happen to enjoy season 8. There are a couple of stinkers in there, but overall it was a pretty good season. Kind of tough to do the whole school thing. Who knows what's going to happen in season 9? It seems like we just got to know the student 6.
Hopefully that final season brings the epicness of season 4.
Season 8 was another season that made me very proud.
Lots of fun things, and it's like they introduced the school, and they're like, alright, so here's a bunch of episodes in this new environment, and it made it feel fresh.
Season 8 had a lot of fun to it. It had a lot of really great episodes, especially The Sounds of Silence. The Kieran really did great, and the combo of Applejack and Fluttershy was fantastic.
Some very heavy topics that were taken on.
No, I mean, season 8 was okay, but it wasn't the best.
It was fine.
It was fine.
There were some good ones and there were some bad ones.
It pains me to admit that I think season 8 is probably my least favorite of all.
Season 8 is
A shit show.
not that.
Feels like a lot of things are playing too safely, and other things are playing too callously.
I feel like the arcs from seasons like 1 through 5 were just amazing, and then for some reason 6, 7, and 8 kind of just, I don't know, tapered off for me.
Like sometimes they'll have a big epic story that can't possibly fit in 20 minutes and they'll cram it in anyway. And then other times it feels like they're just rehashing old stuff that we've already seen in this show a bunch of times.
I thought it was okay. There's a few gems in 8.
And to clarify something, I don't think it's a matter of the people working on the show like not caring or not putting effort into it, because there's still these fandom references and there's continuity and like there's all these little signs that there's still passion behind the show. But there's overwhelming signs that there's some other problem, like a corporate oversight or a budget constraint or time problems. Something's going on to affect the show, I think.
All of my favorite moments were from
outside the school.
And it's not that I don't like the mini six, they're fine, but
they're not very memorable.
I missed the Larson era.
I thought it was fine.
Season 8 probably feels the most different out of all the seasons because we have this new young 6 with brand new characters introduced, and I feel like we've known them for a while now, even though we've only known them for one season. I really like what they did with that. I like that they introduced new characters and they're still able to think of new ideas for so late in the series.
I feel like, again, season 8 was more of a lead up to season 9. Duh. But like stories that will carry over to season 9 and serve as like the main course. So we shall see. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I enjoyed season 8.
The students were the most fun. It was really great to see them continuing the story kind of from the movie and its inspiration, but mostly just getting to see a different batch of friends learning the ins and outs.
The show writers are working with what they got, and they do pretty damn good, like a damn good job with that, and that's something that I can appreciate.
Downside to this season has been that Twilight and Friends really didn't cut it as teachers. We only got to check in with them when they were failing pretty bad.
Utilizing the new characters, the school, also the pillars coming in here and there. It was awesome. And then seeing some old villains like Tyrek and Chrysalis throughout, as well as establishing some new villains.
I really would like to see more episodes where the main six are being effective teachers to those who are struggling.
I was very happy with season 8. It was a lot of fun. It ended very well.
The school was the weakest aspect, and yet the students were one of the strongest aspects. That's a strange paradox.
Good job, DHX and the crew. You did good, and you made me enjoy this season.
I intend to celebrate this season as I would any other, and if it's going to be the last one, I hope there'll be good memories. Getting to be a part of Bronies React, doing reviews, making comics, all of these are just part of the experience of being in this fandom, which I've enjoyed. And I appreciate being given the chance to be on Bronies React and share that with all of you. So, thanks for having me.
So here's hoping that season 9 is going to be a good one.
I'm being mean, aren't I? Am I being too mean?
That's hopefully good, and if it's not, I will punch a kitten.
Yuck! 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 Yuck!
Stop. Okay.
Oh no, she's dead. I shouldn't have done that.
That hit my screen.
Wow, this is just like how Sarah and I kiss.
I rescued an injured weapon pistol.
If you take 100% of the amount of chocolates that are out there and you buy 20 of 100, what do you have? 20% chocolate.
It's actually pretty interesting. Did I just spill water on my computer?
And so, the moral of the story is, don't trust anyone, send them to Tartarus before you can let them. Before you can let them what, you idiot?